Hi, I'm Jack, and welcome back because this time I got a review for The Suicide Squad. I am super excited to talk to you guys about this movie, and it is directed by James Gunn, and it stars Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, John Cena, Joel Kinnaman, David Dastmalchian, and many more in this ensemble cast movie featuring the titular Suicide Squad team. And before we get started, just so you guys know, this is a spoiler-free review. There are no spoilers in this review. I will mention stuff in the trailers possibly, but whatever you need to know, there will be no spoilers in this video. And don't forget to follow me on social media. My username is down below on the screen, so don't forget to do that while you're at it. And with all that out of the way, let's get started. The Suicide Squad follows the team themselves with old and new members alike, and Amanda Waller dispatches them on a mission to Corto Maltese, and they are tasked to destroy Project Jotunheim, a max security prison with lots of secrets, and they need to destroy the building and try to make it out alive. To kick off the positives, I thought the acting is terrific. Margot Robbie once again proves to us that she is excellent as Harley Quinn in this movie. She has lots of great moments and great dynamics, even from characters like Rick Flag and Bloodsport and Javelin and all these other characters throughout. She has excellent chemistry, and she is awesome as always. And Margot is an absolute delight in this movie, and they prove to us once again that she is not somebody you'd want to mess with. Other standouts are John Cena as Peacemaker. This is probably my favorite performance of his to date because he plays this kind of jerk character who's like, I am willing to kill everybody as long as that means we will have peace and liberty. And Idris Elba is terrific as Bloodsport because originally they wanted to have him play Deadshot because they couldn't get Will Smith to come back. But I think that making him play a new character was a great choice that I think paid off because he was awesome as Bloodsport, and I loved his suit design. And Polka-Dot Man and all these other characters, they were all portrayed really well, and they got lots of some surprise actors here and there, and plus Sylvester Stallone is just great as King Shark, and I loved King Shark in this movie. He has lots of funny and entertaining moments, and I really liked David as Polka-Dot Man. He's kind of that funny little character with some weird moments of his, and he really blends in with these characters with his abilities and his weirdness. So the acting is really strong in this movie. And Viola Davis is once again, she shines as Amanda Waller because she is very well cast and she has stuff to do here, and I really liked her in this movie. All in all, the acting is terrific throughout this movie. Adding on to the acting, it's just the fact that James Gunn did a marvelous job picking characters because he chose a lot of new characters in this movie, like Peacemaker, Bloodsport, Polka-Dot Man, Ratcatcher 2. Each of them have their own style that makes them pop on screen, and it worked so well in this movie. Oh, and the movie is very violent. No joke. It is full-on blood throughout the movie. There's no setbacks. James Gunn was able to do everything he wants with this movie, and it was perfect because with Suicide Squad, they need to be allowed to be as violent as they need to, because with the other movie, because it was PG-13, it just didn't feel like Suicide Squad. This does. This feels like Suicide Squad. And there's so much action and there's so much violence in it, and it worked so well to kind of give you the stakes and the tension and the urgency of the mission and why they need to succeed. And it was such a warm, welcome addition to the movie. And I think because that Warner Brothers allowed James to do whatever he wants in this movie, like kill off whoever he wants, make it as violent as he wants, it paid off really well with this movie. So I am so glad that James did not hold back with the violence and the R rating it got. Oh, and if you love the humor in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, you will be in for a treat with this movie because this movie is also very humorous at times too. Some of the jokes can be inappropriate, but it's a Suicide Squad movie. Of course it would be. And It was so funny. There are lots of funny moments throughout this movie from characters like even King Shark or Peacemaker or Polka-Dot Man. It's just lots of humorous moments throughout, and it's just so fun to watch. There's not a joke that I think missed the mark to me. It didn't feel overused. It feel like they had humor at the right point, at the right time, and they didn't have a joke that goes on for too long. And it was a absolutely great thing in this movie. I thought the movie was very funny, and I thought all the jokes landed for me. James Gunn wins yet again when it comes to the comedy. The visual effects and action sequences were both amazing. Like, the Harley Quinn fight sequences are very well done, and so as from characters like Bloodsport and Peacemaker. There are lots of great action sequences throughout. They're shot well, they're not shaky, and the visuals, practicals, and CGI are all terrific. Oh, and aside from the comedy, there's also a good chunk of emotional moments too, especially from characters like Ratcatcher 2 and Bloodsport. And it doesn't hold back because James Gunn did make us cry when Yondu died in Guardians 2 and even in Guardians 1. So he does a good job with those moments here. And there are a good chunk of standout characters like Ratcatcher 2, for example. Like Daniela, who plays her, did a marvelous job as a character in making us connect with her and feel for her. And even with her dynamic with all these other characters in the team. And it was really great to see. And Polka-Dot Man was really great from time to time, too. James Gunn does a marvelous job, again, with taking all these obscure characters that nobody would have heard of, put them in the movie, and makes them very likable people, even if they're not kind of villains or not necessarily the right kind of people to be with. But he does a great job at that. There are a lot of standout characters, and it's just, the character work is great, but so is the emotional moments. I don't want to go specific into the emotional moments because they might come off as spoilery, so I'll leave it at that. And the movie's paced really well. It's only like 2 hours and 13 minutes, I guess, and it didn't drag for me. It didn't feel like it was slowing down like with the first movie and those opening 40 minutes of the movie. This movie is paced really well. Once it starts, it just keeps going and going. It doesn't halt for me, and it's a really engaging story throughout of like Willie's character's making, and because it actually feels like a Suicide Squad movie with stakes and danger and tension, because it has those things, it makes the runtime even better, because then you really feel for the danger, and it doesn't make you feel like you're just being there just to watch it. It feels like, no, you're there because you're seeing this mission and you're seeing these characters are in danger, and the pacing doesn't halt any of that. It's done so well. It doesn't feel slow, and it's a pretty well-paced movie. So the Suicide Squad excels with pacing. I promise you, there is a lot of deaths in this movie because it is a very violent movie, and you will not see it coming, and you guys are in for a treat with the Suicide Squad. Plus, the soundtrack, which I forgot to mention, is great. It has lots of great songs that fit in with the scene and the action that's taking place. And James Gunn continues to prove he is a master of picking songs for a movie soundtrack, once again with the Suicide Squad, leaving me excited to see his soundtrack for Guardians Volume 3. Oh, and in the trailer, so not a spoiler, they revealed Starro. Fans are going to love how they used Starro in the movie, so definitely stay tuned for that. Let me talk about James Gunn. He is one of my personal favorite comic book movie directors right now. And I loved what he did with this movie. He did what he wanted to do. He made the movie he always envisioned to make with the Suicide Squad. And because he's so good at using comedy, emotional moments, and the music soundtrack, and the action, the characters, and all that, it all paid off with this movie. It feels like a James Gunn movie and not a studio-driven movie. And it has a lot of James Gunn's personal style into this movie. And it really paid off. James Gunn was the perfect choice to direct this movie. I couldn't imagine anybody else directing it. So, James Gunn, you are brilliant for this movie. I don't think I could name any issues I have with this movie. I thought The Suicide Squad was an absolute blast from beginning to end, and James Gunn delivered another terrific comic book movie with this that utilized all these characters really well with great action, lots of suspense and tension, and it is easily one of the best movies I've seen this year and one of my favorite comic book movies ever made. I'm going to give The Suicide Squad an A+. And it's a must-see on the big screen and wherever you are. There are 2 mid-credit scenes in this movie, so don't forget to give them. There are 2 end-credit scenes in this movie, so don't forget to stay around for that. And overall, I had a blast with this movie. Those are my thoughts on The Suicide Squad. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this movie, so let me know down below in the comment section. No spoilers. This is a spoiler-free review. So, without spoiling the movie, let me know down below in the comment section, what did you think about this movie? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Were you somewhere in the middle with it? Or did you absolutely love it like I did? So, I would love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to follow me on social media. My username is down below on the screen. So, don't forget to do that while you're at it. And thank you guys so much for watching. And don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button. And stay tuned for more.
What the?
Nothing like a bloodbath to start the day.
They call you Peacemaker?
I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I need to kill to get it.
I thought you were the crazy one.
I am.